Hey everyone, this is Taylor. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's midweek vlog. We are actually starting a new series on God's love. Now, the idea of God's love is really broad and can be a really daunting task to try to get our minds wrapped around. In fact, Paul knew this, and in Ephesians, he writes about it. He said this to the Ephesians church: I pray that you, being rooted and firmly established in love, may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the length and width and height and depth of God's love, and to know the Messiah's love that surpasses knowledge, so you may be filled with all the fullness of God. God's love is huge, and Paul says that we need to seek to know God's love. And then in verse 19, he says we need to know Jesus' love that surpasses all knowledge. What he's trying to say is that we can know God's love. Even though we might not know every aspect and angle of God's love, we should seek to know him. God's love is so huge, but the Bible gives us specific ways that we can know God's love. And one of those ways is in Romans 5. And talking about God's love, we find that God's love is unexpected and intentional. So I want to start Romans 5, verse 6, and end in verse 8. For while we were still helpless, at the appointed moment, Christ died for the ungodly. For rarely will someone die for a just person, though for a good person, perhaps someone might even dare to die. But God proves his own love for us, in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were helpless, sinful, and guilty, Christ died for us. This is an unexpected love. To help us get our minds wrapped around that idea, picture a battlefield, okay? And there's two armies. One of these armies greatly outnumbers the other. The smaller army knows that they are outnumbered and they are fearful. The larger army is moving forward, and the smaller army finds themselves surrounded and they can't run. There is nothing that they can do, and they are scared for their lives because they know that they are about to be annihilated. As the larger army gets closer and closer and closer, all of a sudden, the commander of the larger army goes to the smaller army and brings a peace treaty. But not only that, the commander says, we're going to provide for you. We're going to take care of you. We're going to give you food. We're going to give you shelter. We're going to be the protector of you and your families and your city. Everyone in the smaller army is just stunned. And all they can think to themselves is, that was unexpected. God's love is unexpected. In that while we were sinners, while we were helpless, while we had hearts that did not desire what God wants, while we have selfish hearts and we are enemies of God, Christ died for us. But not only this, God's love is intentional. We see in verse 8, but God proves his own love for us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. See, there is nothing that we can do to get ourselves right with God. We cannot clean ourselves up enough to be right with God. And God says, I don't want you to spend time cleaning yourself up to get right with me. That's not the way to get right with me. I don't want you to try to earn your salvation by going and doing more charity work, because guess what? It's not going to work. Because nothing that we can do will get us right with God. But God, in his love for us, says, you are my children. You are my loved ones. I'm coming for you. I'm not going to wait for you to clean yourself up. I'm coming to you. I'm not going to wait. I'm coming for you. That's what God's love is for us. It is intentional that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still helpless, Christ died for us. Isn't it good to know that we have a God that loves us so much with this unexpected and intentional love?